Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So since I uploaded my last and first video, I guess, it's been some time, I think about a year now, but this will change right now. I hope so, at least. I got some time on my hands, so I will show you new videos. The thing is that over the last year I had a job where I had to get up at 4 AM and I was so tired when I came back home that I didn't want to do anything anymore, especially not filming, because I looked so tired and I really didn't want to do anything. And when I had a day off, I wanted that time for myself, so I didn't film anything. Well, that's not right. I filmed some things, but the footage got kind of lost. I don't know where it all went. Some is on my cell phone, some is on my camera, some is on the PC, so on my computer. But well, yeah, now here we are. Great. So my YouTube channel is not the only thing I kind of neglected over the last year. As you can see, my plants suffered as well. Some aren't that alive anymore, so we have to throw out some things. We have to repot many plants, and we have to kind of rearrange them, as well as getting rid of some pests. We have mealybugs and we have thrips on our plants, or on my plants, and I have to get rid of them. I don't really know how I will get rid of them right now, but I have to do a little research on that so that we can do that together. However, before we can repot or throw out anything, I want to prepare some things, and today I will show you how to make a moss pole. As you can see, I have my Vanilla planifolia with me today, and you can see it's growing along a cocoa fiber, how do you call it, pole? Yeah, right, I just said that with moss, but okay. And the thing is that this is not really ideal for tropical plants that need much moisture, because this cocoa fiber doesn't contain water at all. As far as I know, it repels water, so it can swim in the ocean and kind of get the coconuts to other places. So by swapping out the cocoa fiber with sphagnum moss, you will have much more humidity around the plant, and the roots have something to grab on and suck moisture out of. But the thing is that you cannot just buy a moss pole, you will have to make them yourself, and I will show you today how to make that. The thing is that I don't really know who started all of that. I saw that at Miss Orchid Girl's channel, but I'm pretty sure that she's not the one who originally thought of that. But I will link you some videos below of people who already did that, because I can't really put a finger on who did it first, so you can take a look yourself. So I will do this video in a voiceover style, so don't be alarmed when you hear me talking but my mouth isn't moving. But that's kind of self-explanatory, I guess, so let's get started. So here's what you need. You will need a bucket of water. Then you will need some sphagnum moss available in pet shops or orchid nurseries, but do not get that forest moss for your terrarium, because it's way too flimsy and fluffy and we don't want any of that. Next up, we need some mesh. You can use rubber mesh as well, it's way easier to work with, but I got this from the hardware store. Then we need something to cut that mesh with, as well as some scissors, and you need zip ties or some wire to keep it all together. I choose zip ties. And lastly, you will need something to secure the moss pole in the flower pot. So first off, we will soak our sphagnum moss in our bucket of water. Just throw it in and wait like 5 minutes or so, then the moss should be soaked. And while this is soaking, we can work on our mesh. The wider you make it, the wider the moss pole will be, and I'm going for something like that. So I'm trying to achieve this shape. And of course I have to cut the mesh. I highly recommend wearing gloves when you do this, but I didn't because there weren't any sharp edges or spikes or anything, so it was okay for me. And as you can see, the whole thing is a little too wide for me, so I just cut out 2 more rows of squares. When you are happy with the shape, you will secure the outer squares with the zip ties, or wire for that matter, however you prefer, just as I do here. I mean, not just as I do, because I made a little mistake here. As you know, zip ties only go one way, the other way doesn't work. So you have to be a little careful, we do not want that whole thing to disintegrate in your hands. When you are done, you should have something that looks a little bit like that, and now we can start to fill it up with moss. We don't want it to be too compacted because it can suffocate the roots, so just pull it apart and make it fluffy. And now we can fill up the mesh with the moss, working bit by bit, just put enough in it so it doesn't compact that much, and as you can see, you go crosswise when securing the next squares together, either with your zip ties or your wire, just as I said, how you prefer it or what you have at home. When you are done with this step, the moss pole is almost done, but as you can see, it looks a little bit rough around the edges, quite literally. So to tidy it up, you can just pull out loose strings or tuck them in, or just use some scissors and cut it off. And of course, while you're on it, you can just cut the loose ends of your zip ties or wires, whatever you use for that. And of course, the last step is to secure the whole thing in the flower pot. For that matter, I just use a wooden stick, and of course you have to adjust the height to the flower pot, and you can also secure it with zip ties or wire, just as you prefer. So that's it for today. You see, we made a moss pole quite successfully, if you ask me, and it took only, I don't know, like 10 to 15 minutes. And the great thing about this is that you can just build up on it as the plant grows. So when the plant reaches the top, you just take another moss pole and put it on top and secure it with zip ties, and that's it. One big downside, however, is that the moss will have to be replaced like every year and a half because it degrades quite quickly when it's wet all the time. And you just gotta keep an eye on that, so when it degrades, you just pluck it out and kind of fill it with new moss as you go, and yeah, that's all for that matter. So if you like this video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing and ring the bell so YouTube will notify you when I upload something new, and we will definitely make something with this moss pole, so stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Bye!